G'day folks, my name is Michael Beven. I'm the CEO of Pioneer Minerals, and I'm here today just to discuss tungsten, the tungsten pricing, what tungsten is as a critical mineral, and of course why some people call it the only true critical mineral. So tungsten as a metal is the second hardest metal on Earth, and it has one of the highest melting points as well. It actually doesn't melt until 3,600 degrees Celsius. So tungsten is critical for its use in defense. So it's used in obviously armor plating, and also armor piercing ammunition. But it's also used for alloys in anything that needs, high temperature resilience. So you're talking about fighter engines, anything like that that achieves really high temperatures. Tungsten is absolutely critical for. Because of its hardness, it's also critical for any sort of heavy industry. Manufacturing, and also obviously mining. Everyone's heard of a tungsten carbide drill bit. That's what you need tungsten for. So tungsten's obviously been around for a long time, but recently the price has astronomically increased. So if we go back to 2025, tungsten was worth $500 per MTU. So MTU is equivalent of 10 kilos. That's the easiest way to think of it. So for every 10 kilos of tungsten, it was worth $500. And then over the last year, what we've seen is that price go from $500 per 10 kilos up to about $2,500 per 10 kilos in today's pricing. So it's an absolutely astronomical increase. And in fact, it crept up to just over $1,000 per MTU at the end of 2025. And then the beginning of 2026 has doubled in price again since then. So there's a few reasons. You probably want to know why this has happened. Why is tungsten absolutely exploding and the price just taking off at the moment? And one of the main reasons is in May 2025, China banned exports of tungsten globally. Now, China actually provides 83% of the world's global tungsten supply. So they control the mining of tungsten, but not only do they control the supply of tungsten, but they're also the world's largest importer of tungsten as well. So you can see how this makes a bottleneck really, really quickly. So that happened in May 2025, but prices didn't start to move straight away because there's two different things. People had stockpiles of tungsten already. Most of the manufacturing was being done with tungsten in China. And so once China removed the supply of tungsten from the market, and obviously is still importing, people burnt those tungsten supplies really, really quite quickly. And that's when we start to see the price of tungsten absolutely skyrocket. And when you combine that in the geopolitical climate that we're in at the moment, where we see the US just looking to reindustrialize, ramp up their internal manufacturing, we're seeing the same in Europe. India is skyrocketing. Everyone is really looking inwards now and trying to redevelop their own industry. You need tungsten to do that. So they haven't needed tungsten for the last 20 years because we've been exporting our manufacturing to everyone else, but now everyone is turning internally. So tungsten's taken off the market by China. They also are the largest importer. We use up all of our stockpiles, and there are no tungsten supplies in the West at the moment. So if you look at the US, where tungsten is the most critical, there's not a single producing tungsten mine in the US at the moment. So prices are absolutely skyrocketing, and I expect they're going to continue to skyrocket because it's not that quick to just find tungsten deposits and bring them back online. The tungsten space has been ignored for 20 odd years, which is why we are where we are at the moment. So what does this mean for Pioneer? Well, Pioneer Minerals has an old tungsten mine located in Idaho. So we're just down the road from the historic Yellow Pine mine, which in the 50s and is still today one of the US's largest historic producers of tungsten. We have a historic tungsten mine there called the Springfield deposit. There is a small historic reserve sitting on there, but what we've actually found is that what was thought just to be a small sort of independent deposit now has the potential to be much, much larger, as it sits on a 2.9 kilometer long magnetic anomaly, which is directly associated with that mineralization at Springfield. So it's really quite exciting. Potential at Springfield has just exponentially increased. So in the current climate that we're in at the moment, tungsten prices are absolutely surging. We've got a small ore body there that we can bring and plan to restart as quick as possible to get that tungsten production back online. We're talking with the Department of War and Department of Defense at the moment to try and help get that going. And then while we do that as well, we also want to obviously find the next biggest tungsten deposit in the US. And so with Pioneer positioned as we are, such a tight shareholder base and an absolutely fantastic project, and with the trajectory of tungsten, I think it's a great time to get on board.